Today we'll be looking at introduction to digital signal processing. As all of you know that our subject in this semester, that is in your second semester, is what? Digital signal processing. Okay. So it comprises three different terminologies. Okay, first one is the digital, second one is the signal, and third one is the processing. Okay. So if as I think you have already gone through different types of signal in your subject data communication, you can broadly categorize signal into two categories. First one is your digital signal, and second you can consider it as analog signal. Okay. So in this subject we will be looking at all these concepts: how digital signals can be represented, how these signals can be processed by using digital signal processing system, okay, and how digital signals are different from analog signal. So basically in digital signal processing, we'll be processing not the actual version of digital signal, but we'll be processing the discrete time signal. So we'll be going into the depth of all these concepts, but in this first session we'll be limiting our discussion to the introduction of digital signal processing. Okay. So if I draw two different signals here, just for example, if I am drawing this sinusoidal waveform, and if I am drawing this another signal as this, so if I am representing in both these cases time on x-axis and amplitude on y-axis. Okay. So in both cases amplitude on y-axis and the time on x-axis. So if I ask you which one is the digital signal and which is the analog one, so in most of the books as well as most of the students may answer this first signal as an analog signal and second one is a digital signal, but it is wrong. Okay. So both these signals are analog in nature. Okay. So both of these signals are analog in nature. So why? So basic reason is that in both these signals the amplitude is varying continuously with respect to time. So whenever there is what you can say, if I am considering it as continuous amplitude, or we can consider it as value as well, okay, and continuous time. Okay. So if it is a continuous value and continuous time signal, then it is an analog signal. Okay. So in both these signals, the amplitude as well as time is continuous. If you observe this signal, the amplitude is varying with time. So for each time instance there is some amplitude value. Okay. Similarly in this signal as well, amplitude is present for each time instance. Okay, that means again amplitude is continuously varying with respect to time. So both amplitude as well as time are continuous in these both signals. Okay, so therefore these two signals are analog in nature. As you know that most of the signals are analog in nature, right? So therefore for processing those signals digitally, we need to convert those analog signals into digital form, right? But before going into the depth of it, the signals, as I said, it can be categorized into two categories, that is broadly categorized as analog and digital signals. Okay, but more specifically, you can categorize them as the analog signal can be considered as what I just said, that it is continuous in amplitude, or you can say it as what, value. Okay, continuous value and continuous time. Okay, so analog signal is continuous in amplitude as well as it is continuous in time. Okay, so there is another version of signal which is called as what, continuous value but discrete in time. Okay, third one is the discrete time and discrete value. Okay, so instead of categorizing signals as simply analog, okay, analog and digital, we will categorize them as, first one is continuous value continuous time signal, second one is your continuous value discrete time signal, third one is discrete value discrete time signal, and then you can consider it as the last one is nothing but the digital signal, where it will be actually represented in some of the encoded signal format, that is nothing but your binary code or maybe any other, by using any other coding technique, right? So before going into the details of each one of these category of signal, that is continuous value continuous time signal, continuous value discrete time signal, discrete value discrete time signal, and the digital signal, let's look at the why we are using digital signal processing. Okay, instead of processing the given signal in analog form, why we should process it in digital form, right? So as I have already stated that most of these signals are analog in nature, right? So for processing those signal in digital form, we need to convert those analog signal into digital form. Okay, so I have just drawn here, okay, two waveforms in previous slide. Okay, so this is an analog signal as well as the other signal that I have drawn, which is a square wave. Okay, and I have taken time and amplitude, time on x-axis, amplitude on y-axis. So this signal is also an analog signal, right? Because in this signal, value, that is amplitude as well as time, is continuously varying. So there is, you can say that there is amplitude present at each instance of time. Okay, if you observe there, if I want to take the amplitude values at discrete interval of time, then simply for certain time instance these values will not be present. Okay, so this signal can be mapped like this. Okay, so we will go into details of it in subsequent lectures, but for now you can consider the categorization of signal, broad categorization as analog and digital, and further it can be categorized as continuous value continuous time, continuous value discrete time, discrete value discrete time, and you can say that coded signal or the digital signal. Okay, so let's look at the introduction of digital signal processing. Okay, so in recent times there are certain advancements in the digital computers, integrated circuit fabrication, as well as in integrated circuit technology. The digital computers and associated digital hardware of some decades ago were, you can say, relatively large as well as expensive. So their use was limited to general purpose as well as non-real-time offline scientific computations and business applications. Okay. Uh, so as you can see that there are various applications such as image processing, face recognition, weather forecasting, flood prediction, right? As well as stock prediction. So in as well as you can say object detection, okay, radar signal processing. So in all these applications the integrated part is nothing but the signal. Okay, what you are processing there, so it is nothing but a signal which you are processing, right? So signal processing plays very vital role. Okay, so whenever you are considering any sort of application in which signals are involved. Okay, so those signals should get processed properly as well as those signals should get processed efficiently, right? So recently there have been advances in digital computers, integrated circuit fabrication, and developments in integrated circuit technologies such as, you can say that, medium scale integration, large scale integration, very large scale integration. All of you are aware about all these technologies. Okay, so recently this ultra large scale integration was proposed for chips of complexity comprising more than 1 million transistors. Another one is the wafer scale integration. It's a system of building very large integrated circuits that uses an entire silicon wafer to produce, you can say, a single super chip. Okay, through a combination of large size and reduced packaging. So this WSI could lead to reduced cost for some systems. So it can be used in parallel supercomputers. Okay. Another one is a system on chip SoC. Okay. So it's an integrated circuit in which all the components needed for computer or other system are included on a single chip. Just for example, here a network interface cards. Okay, just as if you are taking example of your personal computer. So in your personal computer or in laptops, uh, there are different chips for different tasks. Just for example, your processor is separate, your network interface card is separate, your you can say that USB ports are separate. But if you are taking example of maybe your Node MCU or Raspberry Pi uh, kit, in which the processing unit, network interface card, as well as USB ports are uh, you can say that integrated on a single chip. Okay. So that can be considered as the example of an example of system on chip. Okay. So again, there is another category which is nothing but the three-dimensional IC. Okay. So as in case of system on chip, the design of the SoC is complex as well as it is costly. In case of three-dimensional integrated circuit, it has two or more layers of active electronic components that are integrated both vertically and horizontally into a single circuit to reduce the overall dimension of your circuit. So obviously, if the size of the chip getting reduced, so automatically overall size of your digital hardware will get reduced. So all these are the certain advancement in integrated circuit. Basically, these advances corresponds to inexpensive and fast digital circuit performing complex digital processing functions and tasks. So basically, these tasks are too difficult and too expensive to be performed by analog circuitry or analog signal processing system. So basically, this digital signal processing is the solution for all signal processing problems. So that means in case of analog signal processing, the size of analog hardware is huge, as well as it may impose the cost into it, as well as it is somewhat expensive and it is not efficient, okay, to process signal in analog form using analog hardware. So to avoid all these drawbacks, the digital signal processing is the solution for processing signals in digital form. You can process analog signal in digital form by converting them into digital. Okay. So analog signal will be initially converted into digital form, then it can be processed in digital form. So basically, in digital signal processing, digital circuits are cheaper and more reliable. Digital processing hardware allow programmable operations. We can modify processing functions through software performed by hardware. Okay. So whatever functions that will be performed by the hardware can be modified by simply changing the software program. Okay. When you are processing any signal in digital form. Okay. So you will be writing simple algorithms. Those algorithms will be implemented by using any kind of programming language. As you all of you are aware that in Python programming there are various modules are available. Just for example, TensorFlow, maybe Keras. So using TensorFlow, you can process videos as well as images, and another kind of processing you can do through the Python programming. So simply you need to modify your program to change the operation which you need to perform. Okay. So in digital signal processing, basically greater degree of flexibility is there. You can anytime modify the system design, right? So in digital signal processing, high order of precision is achievable with digital hardware and software. So beside these advantages, digital signal processing has drawbacks such as conversion of an analog signal to digital accomplished by there are different operations such as sampling, quantization. So this sampling and quantizing the sample results in the distortion that prevent us from reconstructing the original signal from the quantized sample. So what do you mean by basically sample signal, quantized signal that will be looking when we'll be going through the sampling theorem. Okay, how to sample the given signal. So there is one process which is called as analog to digital conversion process. So that process comprises three steps. First one is the sampling, second one is the quantization, and third one is the coding. So we'll be going into the details of all these steps in our subsequent lectures. Okay. But for now, you just consider this sampling and quantizing of the sample uh, uh, introduces certain distortion in the actual analog signal. So when you want to reconstruct the analog signal from its digital version, so there will be certain signal loss. So actual original signal from the digital form cannot be completely reconstructed. Okay, so that is one of the what you can say that biggest disadvantage of processing the analog signal in digital form. So this distortion can be controlled by proper choice of sampling rate and precision in quantization process. You can use finite precision effects. Okay, so these finite precision effects can be considered digital processing of the quantized sample. Right. So all these things should be considered if you want to process the given analog signal in digital form. So for getting proper results, the proper sampling rate should be selected while converting the given analog signal into its digital form or maybe discrete form. Right. So in digital signal processing, what we'll be covering, so we'll be looking at what are the different types of signals are there, right? Then we'll be looking at what different types of operations can be performed on these signals, such as convolution, correlation. Then there is Z transform, Fourier transform, right? Discrete Fourier transform, fast Fourier transform. Then how to design different system, okay, such as FIR system, that is finite impulse response system, as well as IR system, that is infinite impulse response system. Okay, so all these aspects will be covering in this subject, that is digital signal processing, as well as we'll be looking at some of the concepts of this digital signal processing and the implementation of those concepts in the platforms such as Scilab and MATLAB. Okay, so we'll be looking at the demonstrations of signals, signal operations, convolution, correlation, Fourier transform, Z transform in Scilab as well as MATLAB in digital signal processing. So thank you for joining this session. In next session, we'll be discussing what is signal and how this signal can be processed.